Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to another episode of Best of Five. My name is Ilan, and I am joined here by the main squeeze, Steve, Ace King Offsuit Jurek. Hello, Steve. How's it going?
It is, man. It feels weird that this feels odd because it's obviously post Evo, but it doesn't feel as post Evo as it usually does.
Probably because nobody's traveling back from Las Vegas and stuff.
There's that. There's the fact that it ended at like 8 o'clock. There was still sunlight out.
Very true.
I'm used to it being like I'm used to my partner just watching me as like we get into Street Fighter Top 8. Like, when is this over? When are you coming to bed? Yeah, like soon. It'll be like there's like 2 matches left, so it'll be like an hour.
And they're both reset, goes the distance. Last set, last round.
Oh my god, that the one where you had. Was it Gamer B?
Yeah, it was Gamer B and Momochi, where Gamer B or somebody paused. Or I'm sorry, it might have been Gamer B and Infiltration. I don't remember who was who, but it was Gamer B.
It wasn't Infil. That was a ridiculous set, and it also pissed off my partner because it was just like, get to bed. This is my job. I'm sorry. This is what I get paid to cover. I gotta write about it. I'm sorry.
Damn it! Whoever pressed the pause button. God damn. All right, well, tonight on the show, we're going to talk about EVO, of course. And Sharpie's going to join us about halfway through to talk about the EVO results, because we cannot have an EVO results wrap-up without Sharpie. And then we're going to look at some trailers, some of the new toys we're going to be getting in the near future, and we're going to have a breakdown of Akira, who came out for Street Fighter as of yesterday. And I got to tell you, that character's really fun. I'm glad I picked her instead of Oro, because Oro is difficult. But anyway, we're not starting with a recap today, once again, because we got some controversial topics to talk about. First, Steve, rules of EVO are changing by the minute. What the hell is happening?
Oh, man. So, we're going to be spoiling some of the results in this story if you somehow have not been following EVO for the last week and are relying on us to break the results down for you. Spoiler alert. But we had a couple instances this past week where players they got to top 8 or they got just outside top 8 and then they had to and then they showed up in the bracket as disqualified. And there was some confusion to what happened. In week 1 in the Street Fighter East bracket, we saw Kalmal09, a very strong Bulgarian player, made it to just before top 4, which was getting streamed, and then disqualified. And in a Reddit thread where someone asked about it, one of the bracket runners came in and said, well, they were underage, so they had to be disqualified before they got to the points or to the top 4 stream. This happened again in the North America Mortal Kombat bracket on Saturday, where a player by the name of TurkeySucks, and I'm assuming they're talking about the food and not the nation. At least I hope they're talking about the food. But they went through. They made it to top 8 on winner's side. Tweeted out, yeah, I made it. I'm so excited to get this. And then a few minutes later, they tweeted out again saying that they made it, but they got disqualified because they were underage. TurkeySucks is a 17-year-old player. So we look, the issue here, obviously in previous years, players who have been under the age of 18 have competed at EVO. Skullgirls, again, I forget what their new name is, but Noah the Prodigy, who made a deep run in Marvel when they were 9 years old. SonicFox doing so well before 18, and then obviously continuing to do well after the age of 18.
Dragon.
So the idea of someone... Dragon, yes, another great point. the idea of someone being disqualified for being under the age of 18 is a foreign concept in terms of Evo. But, them's the rules. Or are they? What blew up was a slight change to the rules. Let's actually pull up rule number 2. These were the rules. Yep. So this was the rule as it appears now on the Evo page that says, quote, "This tournament is only open to players who, from the time of entry until all prizes have been awarded, A, are the age of majority in the jurisdiction in which the tournament is located." Age of majority varies from place to place. In the US and most other countries that we're dealing with, it is 18. So it appears that, if you're under 18, you can't enter. And that, sucks, but it's in the rules. And it makes sense because this year, one of the prizes is a trip to Las Vegas. And when you're talking about minors traveling to Vegas, especially internationally, there's potential issues. But pull that back up for a minute.
Oh, no. Okay.
Pull that back up. Look at the date that rule was effective. August 12th. So this was made effective on before the second weekend of competition, but after the first. And in all honesty, I don't think it appeared in the rule set until Friday itself. I am not sure when, between Thursday and Friday, the rule actually went live on the website. Some people have said after the Mortal Kombat pools. Some say a little before. Some say it right in the middle. But the issue is that isn't the rule that players registered under. That isn't the rule players competed under for the first week of competition. Let's pull up that first page. This is the rule as it appeared on the, before last week, or before the past few days. So it says, quote, "This tournament is only open to players who, from the time of entry until all prizes have been awarded, are of the age of majority in the jurisdiction in which the tournament is located, of who have received explicit permission from their parent or guardian." That extra clause there is important. First off, the "of" does appear to be a typo. Logically speaking, it is lowercase on the actual graphic. The font we use for our show does not include lowercase letters. But if you look at it, the typo that makes sense there, or the word that makes sense there, is "or" instead of "are." Excuse me. That is a letter that it forms a word, so it wouldn't be caught by spell checker. If you're doing a quick glance through the rule set, the curvature of the F kind of looks like the curvature of an R, so it wouldn't necessarily jump out to you. And it makes sense because that would say that, you have to be either 18 or have received explicit permission from a parent or guardian, which puts it in line with a lot of other competitions where players are allowed to be under 18 and still compete. The issue is, Kalmal when they registered, when they competed, they were following the rules. There's a clause there that allows people under the age of 18 to compete. And then that was eliminated midway through the tournament after players had already registered, after players had already competed. I just don't understand why this change was made right then, right there. It infuriates me. It actually, the more I think about it, it actually infuriates me.
I don't disagree.
Because here, I'll let you talk.
I don't disagree, but here's the thing, right? I'm sure when we registered, there was also thing in the rules that said Evo can change these rules at any time. I mean, that's usually like normal tournament rules. And the other thing too is, let's look at it again from like the logistics side of things. Say somebody who is under 18 coming from outside of the US comes to the US on the PlayStation and Evo budget, or like on their penny. That complicates everything. From travel booking, from hotel booking, from like having a minor in Las Vegas. So I feel like it's one of those things where the solution is bring their guardian along, but that also costs more money. So it feels like it was one of those things where they saw it, and that's been the case in past events, because in past events people were responsible for getting themselves to Las Vegas. So it was probably one of those things where they saw that and were like, uh-oh, time to change it. So it is really frustrating, and it is kind of, but I don't necessarily think I blame them for doing it. I do blame them for how they did it. Or I'm upset about how they did it. Not that I blame them for how they did it, because they did it.
So I get that. I get the idea of maybe they don't have the budget, or they don't want to bring more people into Las Vegas than they need to. So I get the idea of of just eliminating people under the age of 18 altogether from competing. My issue is this. We brought up a few issues with Evo, with this year's Evo last week, or at least I did. And a lot of them could be potentially chalked up to all growing pains, running a competition under unique circumstances in these trying times and all of that. This doesn't feel like that. This feels like you have so many people who have run tournaments who have had to include clauses like this in previous competitions before. How does nobody not catch that, if that's the intention? And if it's not the intention, why would you make this change in the middle of the tournament? Because, thinking about the competition standpoint, which honestly there are a lot of other aspects to this, but think about the competition standpoint. The person that TurkeySucks beat was Juxi. He beat Juxi to get to top 8. Juxi was retroactively rewarded the win to get to top 8, and then made it to second place. That impacts every single player that Juxi had to face, because maybe they lose to Juxi, but maybe they beat TurkeySucks, and that changes who gets to go. That's to say nothing about all of the players who faced TurkeySucks before that, and all the players who faced Kalmal before that point. If the issue is you can't give them you can't reward them with travel, or there's some other issue, at this point you got to catch that beforehand. Once you're in it, you kind of got to okay, we'll figure it out afterwards. And if you can't get them to Vegas, you say, well, okay, maybe we'll give them some sort of little compensation and then invite the third place finisher or something like that. It just feels like they handled this issue in one of the worst ways possible.
Mm-hmm. I mean, well, yes, they handled this the worst way possible. I 100% agree. Especially because I remember I can't remember I can't remember how many times we've talked about integrity in the FGC, right? Where everybody where first the issue, since before Smash GG, people would float names through brackets. There would be all this crazy shenanigans, and that all gets addressed to keep the integrity of a tournament. So it is bizarre that one of the biggest tournaments of the year in the FGC changes rules mid-tournament. So I think that in one way, in my brain, it's like, whoa, That's weird. Integrity City. But in the other way, again, it might just be one of those things where, again, this is a new partnership. This is the first time we're doing this online. Maybe they just took for granted that the rules were correct. And this was the easiest solution out of it. Which, again, like, it's a solution that I think is not great. However, taking away the argument that this should be caught before, what else do you do at that point?
I think, in terms of the pricing, you run the tournament out, and like I said, if for whatever reason you can't bring the winner out or the runner up out because they're under the age of 18 and something else is going on, then you give them a little bit of compensation and, invite the third place player. Maybe say, okay, we can't bring you out to Vegas, but we'll cover your trip for this competition, but we'll cover your trip to Vegas for EVO 2022, which got announced as well. We'll get into that a little bit. But I get that there's not a lot of elegant solutions, but I feel like saying you followed or you're disqualified because you didn't follow the rules. Wait, I followed the rules. Oh, see, you didn't follow the rules. That just feels so foul to me.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it's awful that it happened. And there's not much to say, I don't think. And this is the other thing too. It's like, was this? I would be really curious to know if EVO was not under the Sony and Endeavor umbrella, if this would have happened the way that it has.
I would imagine, like I said, I don't think it's necessarily because of the EVO brand or new ownership, but because the fact that for the first time ever, you have to award travel as part of a prize. Mm-hmm. There are issues doing that, but it still very much leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah. Do you think it was one of those things where they had a very, very limited budget for flying out people to travel, that there was no way of negotiating an extra plane ticket for a minor?
I don't want to speculate that.
Okay.
I know there's a whole lot of other issues as well when you're talking about bringing people from other countries into the U.S. under normal circumstances. Yep. Much less what's going on now. So it may not be a purely financial case. It may be a situation where we can't deal with those issues internationally, and it wouldn't be fair to allow American players to do that and international players not to. So I get there's reasons for that rule being the way it is. I just really hate the fact that they changed it in the middle of the game, literally.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. And let's hope that this is a lesson learned for everybody to not change rules in the middle of a tournament. Here's hoping, Steve. Integrity in the FGC, baby. Okay, that wasn't the only issue with EVO, even though that was a pretty big issue. We have one more issue we want to talk about, because it's all about the issues here on Best of 5 today.
That I want to talk about.
Yeah, and I mean,
I went through.
Go for it.
I counted a lot this past week. I counted. I mentioned the issue of disqualifications in EVO Online because there are some brackets that were seeing like 50, 60% of players being disqualified. And I thought, how big of an issue was this? So I went through and I counted every single bracket that took place over the past 2 weeks. And I'm turning it into a segment because I need to do something to validate my time sink into that. I might be a little crazy. No, I'm kidding.
This is the result of not having enough schedules this year.
I need to focus. I need to find a creative outlet. But I actually went through and the thing that got the most reaction on Twitter was the sheer number of disqualifications in the North American Strive bracket, which was by far the largest tournament of Evo weekend. If you can pull up image number 1, and that shows you that number at the top left, 1,342 out of 2,262 entrants, 1,300 plus with disqualified. And the way I counted a disqualification is if they were eliminated from the losers bracket via DQ. There are some players who showed up early, or showed up late, got sent to losers via DQ and then showed up later. There are some players who played a couple matches and bounced after losing in winner's side. I didn't go and do a deep dive into how those numbers compare, but once over that I did, it didn't appear that massively impacted numbers one way or another. So we're talking about, obviously the biggest one is the 1342, but we've had other brackets as well. There were nearly 400 players that dropped out of the North America Street Fighter tournaments combined. Nearly 300 for North America MK. Guilty Gear in both Latin America and Europe were about 230, 240. And I wanted to see, how does that compare to the number of people in each bracket? What percentage? So the next image it breaks it down by bracket. This shows, and it is color-coded by game. So orange is Mortal Kombat, blue is Street Fighter, green is Tekken, red is Guilty Gear, and yellow is Skullgirls. One of the reasons I heard for the potential high number of DQs is because registration was before Guilty Gear came out, so a lot of people signed up not knowing a whole lot about the game and then changed their mind about whether they like it. Some people, work just came up. So I dove into it, and surprisingly, the 3 biggest withdrawal tournaments were all Mortal Kombat. And some of the older games, like the Skullgirls, Street Fighter especially, had some of the lower ones. So, yeah, more established games had a higher turnout, but one of the older games also had the lowest turnout in terms of percentage, with all of those being over 60%. That was a bit surprising to me. If we take a look by game on that next image, and we can see it even more clearly, nearly 67%, about 2/3 of players who signed up for Mortal Kombat, DQ'd, compared to only 43% for Skullgirls, 45% for Street Fighter. Strive was at about 57%. The overall average was 54%. If we take a look at by region, it's there. I wanted to see if there was a pattern. Asia is the lowest in about 40% of DQs, but I do want to point out that the 2 smallest tournaments, or the 2 lowest DQ brackets, were both the East Asia brackets, the ones that included Japan and Korea. I think part of that has to do with time zones. If you remember, the start regions were determined by one particular time zone for that region. For Japan, it was based on Japanese time. Japanese and Korean times are in line with each other. For Latin America, it's based on Brazil. But not everyone is in that Brazil time zone. There are some people who are 2-3 hours behind that. So a noon start time there could mean 10 a.m. or even 9 a.m. start time there. Same with North America, it's a little lower because it was noon, but on the West Coast, which means you didn't have to start if you were on East Coast till 3 o'clock. But you can see there, Latin America a little higher, Asia a little lower, and like I said, the tournaments that didn't include the uh, East Asia region were a bit closer to the global average of about 54%. So I wondered, is this because of online play? Is this because it was free to sign up and you didn't have to go anywhere? The best comparison I could think of was Evo Japan 2020. That was a tournament that was free to enter. It was one of the last major events right before the pandemic, so it's probably the game list closest to the one we have now. And even then, it was only there were only two games that were in both the Evo Japan lineup for 2020 and the Evo Online 2021 lineup, being Street Fighter V and Tekken 7. And those games, I didn't have a chance to look at Tekken 7, unfortunately, but I did look at Street Fighter V. If we can pull up that final graphic, and it shows right there in blue. There about 30%, just under 30% of people did not show up for Evo Japan. That's a very, very big number for an offline bracket, but it's still much smaller than most of the other Street Fighter tournaments in Evo Online. Like, you're looking at about 60% Latin America, about 50% in North America, 50%, 45% in Europe. It's obvious that being online adds an extra element of, I don't want to say disposability to it, but it makes it's a lot lower commitment in order to sign up, which means if you're not necessarily going to throw everything at it to not make it. Generally speaking, if you sign up for Evo, you're going to put in a request for time off if you're actually going to Vegas. If you're just playing online, you might not necessarily do that. So it's going to be interesting if we have another one of these massive online tournaments, exactly how we approach the issue. And that was something I was asking on Twitter. Do you do like a small entrance fee that you get back when you register or when you actually show up? Is there some other solution there to keep, to get people to actually come through when they sign up, or to at least prevent people from signing up and then just changing their mind?
I have a counterpoint to this, and I think I brought this up last time we spoke about this, and it was 2016 DreamHack Austin CPT event, Street Fighter V, free to enter. I played 2 matches and got out of pools because there were so many DQs. So, as far as that event, I see a very similar comparison of people signing up because it was free to sign up and then not making it to the tournament. Do I know what the numbers exactly are? Have no idea. But I have a feeling my experience was very similar to what some people experienced during Evo, with if it had like over 60% of people disqualified for certain games. So maybe it is the free entry. I think it's a combination of the entry being free and it being an online registration, right? Because you can just click on some matches, you click register, and you're done. Bam, you're doing it. And then you can have the luxury to forget. So I maybe we'll be able to talk to Jabali and see if we can pull up those old numbers to see if we can find a correlation to see if it was truly the curse of the free entry.
I did want to compare it to other Evo events, but a lot of those brackets don't necessarily keep track of disqualifications. Mm-hmm. They just basically say, a lot of those pools just say who won, who didn't. Mm-hmm. Some other events do a better job of tracking DQs. It's not. I don't think it's necessarily a priority for them because they're mostly concerned with who gets out of pools. It doesn't really matter to them how they get out of pools.
Yeah.
So.
Very true. With all this said, though, Steve, yes, there were issues. Yes, there were big issues. However, I think at the end of the day, we have to just give Evo a big old round of applause because we got games, we got people going to Vegas, we got a lot of tournaments that were run online over the span of these last couple weekends. So, whoa, what perfect timing.
Whoa, we got Sharpie. That's so crazy. I'm so sorry, everybody. I was in my hyperbolic time chamber, curvessing through time, and I heard somebody was over here talking about some results. Now, what I know here from being on Best of V show now for, almost 5 months, I know that the results may come and the results may go, but Steve will stay here to give us those tournament results. Am I right?
You just making me commit like that? Just signing me up for... No, I'm here. That's what I do. I do it for the people here.
Speaking of doing it for
my
the
own
people,
ego.
Speaking of doing it for your own ego, Steve, thanks for resubscribing to your own show.
Thank you.
For 43 months.
It's money like that keeps me on the podcast, Steve. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to be here all week.
My favorite part is how Steve is not, has been on the show longer than I have and is subscribed for less time.
You know what? It's
Times is tough, Elon. We're in a pandemic. Okay, it's hard being in a panorama and a panini at the same time.
Very true. That is true.
Oh man!
All right.
Now I want a sandwich.
Don't talk to me about sandwiches. I'm still doing this whole 30 thing, and it hurts. All right. Look, Sharpie, you came in and you did the setup of the century, and we just
I felt like
completely
it was a very good setup, to be very honest with you.
Yeah, no, it was great.
I was spending the entire time being like, I'm going to ignore all of this other stuff that I can't comment on and focus on a really good segue. But Steve was like, no, I refuse to engage on this bit. It's yes and.
Yeah, I know.
Steve,
We gotta.
And.
We gotta get Steve some improv
a good
classes.
student of improv.
Gotta get Steve some improv classes.
There was a high school improv show that I was in, and I was the star of it. That's a story for another day.
Yeah, and we're here for the recaps, Steve. Not all this nostalgia.
So how about you put a hat on and give us the recap?
I don't have a hat, but I will give you a recap. And I'm going to, just for you, Sharpie, I'm going to start it with Skullgirls.
Oh, baby.
Can I do it? Can I do it? I practiced.
Yes.
I can keep
Go
it under
for it.
30 seconds. All right.
Let's do it with UK. Or Europe.
I was super excited to watch Skullgirls UK, where Mr. Peck actually came in first. He is an English player, resides in the UK. Mr. Boers, representing Skullgirls Russia, and Magic, another United Kingdom, specifically a Norwegian player, coming through very strong. Of these two, we will see Mr. Peck and Mr. Boers in Vegas this November. Congratulations to them both. This will be Mr. Peck's third time at an international Skullgirls competition and Mr. Boers' very first time. Very happy to see them there. Congratulations to Ismo, Gone to Heaven, Ranger, Sanji, and the Laboratory, a very well-known Skullgirls European commentator. In 9th place, we had Nork, Lex, Lunatic, Taekwon Bro, and everybody's favorite big band player and 13th Big Tony, as well as Corin, Half, Ninja Fortnite, and Phalanx. Not to be confused by his brother, Philanthropist.
I gotta say, I tuned in because I woke up a little late and I was like, Skullgirls and Sharpie's commentating. I gotta watch, and I tuned in.
I didn't commentate that at all.
Oh, that's why I didn't watch it. But anyway, but either way,
very talented commentators, by the way. I commentated with Jammers for the Asia bracket.
Oh yeah,
and C4 also commentated with Jammers. I believe they both did a spectacular job. I'm trying to say stupendous, but I messed up my words there.
It's okay.
Thankfully, I'm not ever going to commentate Evo again, because this will probably be the last time Skullgirls is ever there. So, thankfully,
okay.
I didn't mess up at all when I was on the mic. I didn't literally say anything incorrectly ever. So...
We'll talk about your Brazilian pronunciation in a little bit.
No!
I'm totally kidding.
Let's talk about it now.
But before we move on, though, I do want to say I tuned in to watch the UK Skullgirls just in time to see the Robo Misfortune Super that ended it all. And it was, I tuned in, saw it happen, and I was like, damn, I missed it.
Good. I'm still never going to play it, even though I literally have one of the best Skullgirls commentators on my podcast every week. And every week she tells us to play Skullgirls, which is still on sale right now for $29.99. Grab the Season 1 pass. Umbrella is coming out end of month. Play Skullgirls at SharpiePLS.com. But I will never play that game because I'm going to spite Sharpie.
Look,
right?
It's installed. Okay? That's baby steps.
Now open it.
We'll get there.
But not to eclipse the remainder of it. I believe
yes.
we also have another bracket. This was one I did have a good opportunity to commentate with a very well-known Skullgirls commentator, streamer, and tournament organizer, Munoz the Scyther. And would you please pull up that recap for me? In very first place, we had Recita Federal.
All right, hold on.
Who don't know, it means bank or IRS in Portuguese.
No, it means it means recipe. It's like the federal recipe. And also it's pronounced Receita.
Well, Recita told me.
Oh, did they tell you to use it? To say
they
Recita?
told me, Elon, because they're inside of my community, and I spoke with them.
That's fine.
And I literally got quotes from every single player before I commentated. And
That's
I went
fine.
over extensively what they were excited for, and they told me
that's fine. They can.
that
You know
their
what?
name specifically meant IRS.
Okay.
But you,
It's fine.
someone who's never played Skullgirls,
No, but I grew up in Brazil, though.
I'm not saying you didn't. Was that what I said? That's not what I said. What I
Nope.
said was the player told me it means IRS, and
Okay.
that's what their phrase meant.
Okay. That I was more worried about the pronunciation.
Fighting.
Yeah, no, everybody blew me up over my pronunciation.
And look, can
a
I
couple
say
of
one
players.
thing?
Yeah, I tried.
Look, at first it bothered me because I was like, oh, he's pronouncing it wrong. But at the end of the day, it's like, I knew who you were talking about. Everybody knew who you were talking about. Communication achieved. To hell with everybody that's blowing you up, including myself.
It was really hard, too, specifically because if we go back over the recap here, we can see Jorhario, otherwise pronounced as, it sounds closer to George, basically, is what I was told. Yes, Georgian, exactly the way you said it, which I am not able to emulate, unfortunately, because I do not speak Portuguese. Unfortunately, I mispronounced it as Jorge, and I did that specifically because on the note cards that I was given after I interviewed every single one of the players myself, because that information was not provided to me previously, I went out and did it because I care about this community. When I got that information, the card was spelled out similar to the Spanish word Jorge. All right? I do not speak Portuguese. I've never pretended to even understand or speak Portuguese in my life. I do understand a little bit of Spanish, and I do speak a little bit of Spanish as well. So I thought I would be able to get away with a Spanish pronunciation, and my thought process was they entered under this specific Smash GG, which has happened before in the past. I have commentated other tournaments, and their Smash GG and their given name are completely different. So I always default to what the player wants me to use. And in this instance, I did apologize as well immediately after the tournament to the player for mispronouncing their name. They said they completely understood. They helped me understand the pronunciation. They said it was fine. I appreciate you commentating. And everybody in Skullgirls Brazil was so sweet to me. I especially want to call out someone who actually, unfortunately, didn't get into top 8 and didn't enter the bracket, but was MWhisk. And they were someone that helped me out very immensely getting all this information on all of the players as well. I had so many notes on everybody from both Skullgirls Brazil and Skullgirls Mexico. And I just really want to say shout-outs to the Skullgirls Brazil scene for coming out so strong. But if we go back over the recap,
Brazil.
obviously... Brazil, yes! Oh my god. So yeah, Recita Federal. Or how are you? Noah, a name I did pronounce correctly the entire way through.
Well, actually, no, I'm just
Kyrian.
kidding. I'm kidding.
Kyrian, came home with fourth. Milk Pouch, the only Mexican player in top 8, got fifth, and shared that with Thiago, another Brazilian player. Artisol, a very famous Brazilian player, as well as Hime, another very famous Brazilian player, all rounded up our top 8. And in ninth place, we had Bandana Blue, El Gomando, Tuski, Vinco, Igno, Iki Soad, Kira, and Purple, who I have formally made and put a lawsuit for inflammation and the other word of stealing my name. So, shout outs to everybody for Latin America. Yeah, and also shout outs to not having our event canceled because we have good netcode in our game. Shout outs to that.
And shout outs to you. I actually made the effort to watch because I heard somebody that I know was commentating. And I actually enjoyed the tournament throughout. And I think you and Munoz, is that his name?
Yep.
Okay. Did a great job. And the matches were really, really cool. I haven't watched Skullgirls in a while, but I'm glad I took the time to sit down and watch. I had a great time.
I'm really glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, all of the language barrier aside, I felt like it went really, really well. There was a little bit of an issue with me using some of the player quotes, so I ended up having to scrap some of them later on into the event. But yeah. I felt like it went very well. I just want to thank all of Evo staff, specifically the Evo Twitch moderating staff. That was Markman, Corrupted Tacos, a couple of other people who unfortunately I don't know the names of. But I want to just shout out all of those people specifically for moderating Twitch chat, because this was a very big event for me, and this was very something I was very personally excited about, and I wanted to share with my friends and my family, specifically my younger nieces and my younger sisters. And I was actually able to do that because a lot of the Twitch chat during my specific sections were actually relatively clean. There was very little sexual comments made about myself or my co-commentator, and a lot of the chat was very, very tame and able to be enjoyed by both of my younger sisters who are over the age of 13. So I really was very excited to share that moment with my family and show them exactly what I've been putting all of this energy into. It was a very, to be very honest with you, and this is the last thing I'm going to say because I know we have a limited amount of time on this, but to be very honest with you, I'm very thankful to everyone inside of the community who has supported me in commentating this game, and I'm genuinely very, very honored to be cemented as a part of Skullgirls history. I know a lot of people don't think that online tournaments are a big deal, and a lot of people will say things like, it's just online, it's not real Evo, so on and so forth. To me, this is real. To me, this really matters. To me, this means something. And honestly, no one can take that away from me. It was really cathartic to be able to share a moment like this with not only just my community, but with someone who I had known as I have the community for a very long time as well. And I'm very proud of what we did. And I'm really proud of every single person that entered this tournament. And I'm really proud of every single player in top 8, to be very honest with you. I just want to say, we're here. We made it. And you know what? Honestly, we deserve to be here. And just thank you again.
Hear, hear. Congratulations. And I do want to say, if anybody is honestly upset about your mispronunciation, then they need to go worry about what's actually happening in the world. And
I tried, and I feel like I tried more than other people would have, which is why I know it's all jokes and I'm totally fine with the memes. Okay. I feel like I deserved all of them. They were very funny memes. I definitely laughed. Someone was like, keep pinging Sharpie to say Jorhario, and I was like, y'all are killing me right now. Y'all know I do not read chat. But I was very thankful to see so many people in chat giving me love.
No, it was great.
Thank you for letting me do that recap, Steve. I appreciate it.
It's all good.
Who else would have done the recap of Skullgirls?
Steve would have.
Of Skullgirls?
Yeah, he does it every single week. Have you not been here?
No.
You gotta lay off the crack, man.
Yeah, you're right. Anywho, speaking of crack, let's get cracking because we need to move on here because we have a limited amount of time.
Yeah, let's buzz through this.
All right, where are we going, Steve?
By the way, Elon, that was really good.
We're going to Mortal Kombat 11. We did touch on this with the controversy about TurkeySucks, Juxi, the player who was the beneficiary of that in just before top 8, made it all the way to second place. He's going to Vegas. He'll be joined by the winner, probably the pre-tournament favorite, Ninja Killer 212, who has been on an absolute tear. OD Full Auto and Hayate waving the Canadian flag, rounding out the top 4 there. That was the only Mortal Kombat tournament of the weekend because there was none in the Asia region. So let's kick it to Street Fighter V. Latin America Central was won by Kusanagi, holding off Mono in the grand final. Kusanagi is headed to Vegas for the EVO showcase. Mena RD and AJ Martinez rounding out the top 4. Double Puerto Rico. Good to see some representation there. Salvatore representing Colombia as well, making top 8. On the other...
Well, before we move on, I'm sorry. I just got to say, big shout-outs to Mono, who we know as the TO for First Attack down in Puerto Rico. Also, ridiculous player. Look at that. Almost... I can't remember if he actually reset the bracket. I think he was very close to resetting the bracket, but it was a very, very good grand final, so you guys should go watch it. Especially because he's a Fong player. We don't see those no more. So go watch that. Yep. Sorry, Steve.
And First Attack is taking place on Halloween weekend. So if you want to go to Puerto Rico, if you can go to Puerto Rico, you've got that opportunity. But let's stop talking about players going out of the U.S. Let's talk about players coming to the U.S. Horace Paulin of Brazil. And I am rounding out a Brazilian podium in the Latin American South Street Fighter V tournament, holding off Dark in the grand final. Didi Mokov finishing third. Chile Shanks rounding out the top 4. So Horace will be here for the EVO showcase in November. On the other side of the world, Asia East was won by Kawano, who took care of business over YHC Mochi. You see some familiar names there, Bonchan and Pugera rounding out the top 4. Emperor, a player you don't necessarily see all that much of. The top Korean finisher, finishing tied for 5th. So good weekend for him. As well as for Sien, who turned grand finals into a speed run. Holding off, taking care of business over Chuan in the grand final. Getting a bit of revenge over against Brandon, who beat him in the Intel World Open. Hikari from Indonesia rounding out the top 4 there. Sien is headed to Vegas. As is Energy Marduk from Republic Dominica, winning the Latin America Central Tekken tournament. Beating Guatemala's Heizama in that grand final. El Tondo X and Divine Exorcist 4, both from Mexico, rounding out the top 4 there. On Latin American South, it is a Peruvian player in the winner's circle. Maybe not the Peruvian player you expected. Sergey Master beat Abel del Maestro. It looked like Abel was going to take it. It was a grand final of runs. Sergey got the job done. Venezuela's Jackson 5.
Yep.
With Tito?
In third place.
With Tito.
Not with Tito.
No Tito?
We've got some names in this one.
Let's go.
XD La Maldita rounding out the top 4. Drugzor in top 8. I'm not even going to say who tied for 9th.
It's Lord, but I gotta say it. Sorry. I read it and I started giggling. I have to say it. Sorry, Steve.
I wasn't going to say it.
I'll say it. You want me to say it again? It's Lord, but...
Please censor that later on, Steve. Thank you.
Look, I'm just reading a name.
All right. Say it one more time since I've already going to have to use the sound effect.
Lord, but...
Thank you.
It's tied for 9.
Oh my God.
Congratulations.
Oh my God.
Look, I'm reading a name here.
Do you want to read these names? The European East Tekken 7 tournament?
Sure. We got LMG Mob taking first place all the way out of Russia. Graham C.W. Gray out of Poland. I totally nailed that. Frizen, also out of Poland, also nailed that. Bimbleb from Russia, also nailed that. H-Dope out of Greece. Greetings out of Russia. Mickey out of Russia. Von, I'm assuming the GR is for Greece. Fighting out of Greece, tying for 7th. Tied for 9th, we have Bati, Borisonic, Go Ronaldo, Scrabble Destroyer.
I think Gramsay agreeing is the Scrabble Destroyer, if I'm honest.
Who? Oh, I thought it would be Bimbleb.
These names are so good.
Higam, Nivek, NY Share, or Nice Share, and Rio SPB, tying for 13th. So big ups to all the European Tekken 7 players for a great showing.
On the west side of the European continent, Super Akuma
That grand finals was so good.
held off Joka in the grand final. We're going to have an Akuma in Vegas. Super Akuma.
I was just going to say, and he's super.
He's very super. Fujito from France and Tetsu of Germany rounding out the top 4 there. And then let's close things out with
hold on.
Gear.
I went back to Europe East. Is the 4th place person, is that just Bumblebee? That's Bumblebee. I'm a dummy. Sorry for mispronouncing your name. It's Bumblebee. Anyway, where are we going? Guilty Gear? Asia?
Guilty Gear Asia. The last 2 tournaments that we're listing here. Zizzy and Daru Ino, an all-Korean grand final.
Also amazing grand finals.
That was a nut set. Ban in 3rd. Yuki from China doing some work with Nagoriyuki. Kazunoko and TY tying for 5th. Samito and Naoto rounding out the top 8. What 8? That is one heck of a top 8.
Yep.
And then let's close it out with the tournament that ended things here at a reasonable hour, which is unusual for an Evo. Guilty Gear Strive, North America. The man who killed Xrd has saved Strive. Hotashi, get the job done against SonicFox. Both of those players, however, are going to be in Vegas for the Evo Showcase. Jonathan Tene and Lord Knight rounding out the top 4. Macho and Tempest tying for 5th. Deb and Supernoon rounding out the top 8. I was really excited for SonicFox and Deb in loser side to open up top 8. And SonicFox just beasted that match. And beasted most of the bracket up until Hotashi in that grand final. But yeah, even though they're basically like Marshawn Lynch, not super big fan of the game, sort of I'm just here so I don't get fined. But SonicFox is going to be in that Evo Showcase.
Yeah, and
flying the Guilty Gear flag.
Can I just say for the record, I completely understand Sonic's feelings towards Strive, because as someone who comes from Skullgirls, Strive is a very fun game for me, but I feel as though at a high level, it becomes significantly less fun, and I felt very similarly towards Dragon Ball FighterZ as well when that game first released, because there are a lot of things that the game kind of fights you on, specifically, where I don't feel as limited inside of Skullgirls. I don't feel like there's a ceiling cap in Skullgirls. The ceiling cap there is that if you want to do it, if you have enough mechanical skill, you can. And I feel as though that is not necessarily replicated inside of Strive, and it's just starting to get to that point inside of Dragon Ball FighterZ, and the game's been out for 3 years. So, to me, when I see Sonic say something about, I'm not really feeling Strive as much anymore, that makes sense to me, because at a high level, that's what the gameplay kind of starts to look like, and that's kind of what Guilty Gear Xrd plus R gameplay has kind of always looked like, to be very honest. They kind of put you in these certain boxes, and you have to play by those boxes' rules. I don't think that Sonic And even I don't even think that Sage really like to limit themselves to that. And so whereas a lot of people, I feel, conflate those feelings that Sonic expressed as disdain towards the game, I think it's more of a frustration that there's not as much expression towards the mechanics that they would like to experience inside of the game at a high level. And I want to say that for the record, because I know last week when we were kind of talking about it, I wasn't unfortunately here for that part. So I did feel like it was important to elaborate as someone that was inside of a community that Sonic still occupies, because that's just who like Sonic is, genuinely. Like they like to really push what games can accomplish.
No, I agree. And I feel like, man, there's a lot of people who were, I have to say this word, so I apologize, Steve, but there was a lot of people who were just about SonicFox's action, or like what they were saying during and after the tournament. They were playing the villain role, and we had a couple people even just say, oh, they're pushing it too far. It's like, no.
I genuinely think Sonic was just being honest the entire time. And I think Sonic's always brought that transparency in general, which is why I think so many people look up to them, because Sonic's always going to be real. Even back when things weren't going super great inside the Skullgirls community, and there was someone that we had to come to terms with, they were still very open and very honest about how they were feeling the entire way through. I wasn't even open and honest. I shut down. Like, I closed myself up to a lot of people, but they still understood their responsibility of being front-facing and transparent as a member of the fighting game community. And I'll be very honest with you, there are a lot of top players inside of the fighting game community that will not do that. There are a lot of people that will not. But Sonic understands their responsibility as being someone who represents this community and represents this game. And I think that is worth honestly talking about. But I'm not trying to harp on anything you said here, Steve, or anything. I felt like that was an important point to bring up.
And I think there's a conversation there about obligations too, because I've seen both takes. I've seen people say, you know what, now that SonicFox has placed well, they, what they say has merit, because it's not just them saying it because they're not placing as well in the game as they did in the first place or anything like that. But there's also the sign saying that, you don't really, that they have some sort of obligation to, at the very least, not be so openly hostile towards a game, because, we're in the influencer generation, and that has an effect.
Literally last year, Chris G said Dragon Ball is ass and no one should play it. And nobody got on Chris about that.
Right. Yeah.
That's what kind of bothers me about it, is like, I feel as though everything Sonic said was very respectful, because they didn't trash the game at all. They just said, this game is not for me, and I still respect everyone who plays it. And like, it's kind of crazy that even without me being really super deep inside of this game, I was still able to reach top 8. I feel like that's being respectful, but I completely understand what you're saying. And I'm going to let it go on that, because I know we have a lot of other conversations to go into.
No, I want to keep talking about this, because my point is, during the tournament, they were tweeting and they were leaving messages of like, oh, this match was so easy, blah, blah. That's shit talk. That's being the villain. And there's a lot of people that were like, oh, you said something bad about a player you beat, that's too far. It's like, no, and I think that's like part of like the competitive scene. You have a villain. If you want them to shut up, bait them in the game. Then you have the right to shut them up, right? That's what I was more addressing. It's just that, like they were talking, like they were having fun in the best way that they could, in spite of hating the game, and they were playing the villain. And of course, like at the end of the tournament, they posted a screenshot on Twitter that's like, and the caption was, "This is how you play the villain," and they were trending on Twitter, right? Like that's what I'm talking about. It's just fun talk. If you don't like it, beat them and shut them up, but beat them in the game. Is what I mean.
Yeah, I guess.
That's all I wanted to address.
Because I consider them still like family. So it's hard for me when I see people that are just like, Sonic's trash and should never be given a platform. It's really difficult for me, because I understood what they meant. I never want anyone to be silenced in that sense, especially someone who is like, I think someone who stands for so openly
many positive.
Queer,
very,
very, very unapologetically black. A positive influence, and not just our community, but in gaming as a whole. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard for me when I see people like against that at its merit because there's so many other layers to it. But I
Yeah.
completely understand what you mean about the villain role, and I think Sonic does a really good job of understanding that archetype and playing into it
Yeah.
when they need to.
I think they did great, and I can't wait to see them go to Vegas for a game that they don't want to play. I think that's hilarious, and I can't wait to see more. So big ups to SonicFox, man. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan.
I just want to see like the full body language. If they're still gonna run on the I don't like Strive train, just go into it. Like every match they come up to a stage, like just exaggerated body language.
Wait, can you get
Great game, I
do you?
guess.
You mean
think,
so people actually send them death threats is what you're saying?
No,
That's-
no, I don't want
it's
anyone
so
to say
sad.
death threats. I just
Yeah.
want it to be absurdist comedy. That's
Yeah,
all
I
I
want that
out of
too.
this.
I want that too, Steve.
It's
But I think
such a
we both
shame.
know the fighting game community isn't polished enough for us to experience that in
Yeah.
a safe way.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of certain people taking it too seriously, and the certain people who are taking it too seriously are not the people who should be taking it too seriously.
Yup.
That's all I'll say on that.
Yup. Anyway,
Let's-
we have so
let's
much more to
talk
talk about, don't we,
trailers.
Elon?
Yes, we do, because it is time. Do you know what time it is? Time for you to get a watch. It's also time for Block Grab.
Block grab.
Block Grab. All right, we got a lot of trailers to go into, and we also have an Akira breakdown at the end of the show, much like we promised. So hopefully we'll have enough time to get everything in. However, we have a lot of Evo goodies, a lot of new toys that were gifted to us thanks to Evo. Whoa, wait! I didn't tell you to play it. Sorry. All right, first, let's start with something we already know. However, it's still something great nonetheless. Check this out.
お茶の支度をいたしましょうか。
Maid number 6.
昇級試験の
This
時で
is
す。
actually the
わか
same
ります
character
そういう
as the
話では
tandem.
ないのだけど。綺麗に
They're just using like cleaning weapons to beat up other people. I think that's pretty cool. I'm a fan.
Well, so you got Hisui.
And first, well, let's do the pair. Let's do the pair since it's a pair of characters.
行きますよ。
Maid number 8. All of a sudden, she has a dress. Wow, that
Yeah,
ended
okay.
abruptly. That
I
ended
don't
very
understand. I just accept either way.
All right,
I'm
block
gonna-
or grab, Melty. Go, Steve.
I'm gonna grab both characters. One because they have cactus assist, and the other because they have a cast iron pan, and I want to get into cast iron pan cooking.
Dude,
So
it's
grab.
good. It's good. Sharpie, block or grab?
I'm gonna block the first character. I'm gonna grab the second. I like the dress. I like the gameplay. I like basically everything about it, to be very honest. But I'm not a big fan of that solo maid. I don't like some of her movement, and I don't like some of her combo routes there.
Gotcha. I'm gonna do half. I'm gonna go with Sharpie. I'm blocking the first character. Definitely grabbing the second character because that cactus beating the hell out of the other dude was awesome.
It's
So-
very compelling. It's very compelling. Like that, the way she canceled that, I was like, ooh, okay. I see. We messing with something. We messing with something special. I like that. I like that.
Yeah. Chat. I see 2 grabs. Anybody else? Speak now or forever hold your peace on Melty. Forever. Not just these characters. We got 2 grabs.
So y'all are blocking Hisui, but grabbing Kohaku,
Yeah.
or was it the other way around?
All right.
No,
and
you were correct.
we got lots of grabs in the chat. So thanks, chat. All right. Oh, people are grabbing on both.
Ooh.
All right. It's okay.
I thought our chat was cultured.
Yeah, me too. But that's okay. Let's move on to the next one. Here is the next trailer. Oh, it's Antonov. Nice. Interesting design, though.
He looks like great value Macho Man Randy Savage.
He looks like he could crush me under his armpit. I'm about that.
I'm still hung up on Sharpie's armpit, whatever.
What did I say? I don't even know what I. Oops, was I accidentally?
Did you have like an out-of-body experience where you're talking about being crushed by guys in their armpits?
It's not fair. He doesn't have a shirt on, and he's sitting there, standing there, just lifting up his arms. Like,
what is he?
you're
supposed
telling
to
me
do,
you're
not
not
lift up
selling
his arms?
you're not staring at his armpit hair? That's not what you're doing? You're not envisioning your head literally being squeezed underneath his armpit, smelling his musk? That's literally not what you're imagining right now? That's so crazy. I can't.
This got uncomfortable real fast.
Do you want to see it get more uncomfortable? Because I have an issue with
I'm
this
so
character
sorry,
design too.
John!
I have an issue with this character design too. Hold on. You notice how the towel that he's wearing is perfectly resting on those gigantic pecs, but for some reason they don't cover his nipples.
That's a good trait. What are you talking about?
Also, Steve, this is what I was talking about. Team Ga, I think this is too close to the Ravenclaw Esports. I think you need to file cease and desist here.
If it was Gaw, I would have a claim, but
Okay.
no. There's enough distance there.
Yeah, like, why does he, like, staple the towel to, like, his pecs? What in the world is going on?
He's
Alright,
just
anyway.
too manly. Steve is so mad at me right now.
It's okay.
I'm just like, we've seen so many instances of magic tape and dresses and skirts magically staying in places, and somehow this is the one that pushes your believability scale off the chart.
It's not realistic, Steve. Just be honest about it. Like, okay, look, feel me out. If my head was underneath his armpit...
I'm not feeling you out about armpits! I'm not feeling you out about armpits!
All right, we gotta get to it. Steve, blocker grab.
I'm grabbing because this guy is going to make me snap into a Slim Jim if I don't.
Sharpie.
I'm gonna have to block that and let him grab me non-consensually in a good way.
Good night, Canada.
Chat, blocker grab. I'm gonna block just because him having the, like, safety pin, the scarf to his pecs makes me hurt inside, on top of everything else.
I said non-consensually, but I meant to say consensually in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
I messed up.
I feel you. I feel you.
It was the musk. It was the musk. I can smell it throughout the game screen.
Hey,
Steve
look,
came back and was like, she's still talking about it, huh?
We ain't gonna king shame nothing here, so it's all good. You do
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Can we talk about Guilty Gear?
No, we can't, because we're gonna talk about the other one instead. Here it is.
Yeah, we strive to do better here, Steve.
We just did KOF. We gotta stick with the SNK.
I like this intro.
It's crazy that they're still making characters for Sam Show. It's exciting. Oh, I actually had no idea this was a thing. That's pretty cool.
Take me.
Wow, they did it.
Wait, is that bot?
Yeah.
That is.
What? Mommy. Yeah. This was a good pickup.
Oh, notice it isn't Strive. Does that mean it's the end for Baiken and Strive?
Stop. Don't say something like that. I think it's just because they had to use her Exer design.
Wow. Oh, wow, she comes out tomorrow. No, Thursday.
Day after tomorrow.
Yeah. Dude, that's a weird movie. Don't watch that. That's crazy. Baiken and Sam Show. Blocker grab, chat. Steve, what do you think? Blocker grab.
As soon as they mentioned a Guilty Gear character was coming to Sam Show, this was the way I think most people were going. It makes perfect sense. She fits in so well. I really like her design in this. I'm going to grab it.
Word. Sharpie, what do you think?
Same.
So you're grabbing?
Same.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to reiterate what I said, and it's that I've never seen a character so well suited for a game that came from another game. So, big grabs. And we got lots of grabs in the chat as well. Thanks, chat. All right. the final trailer for today and the final trailer for Block or Grab is this.
This one was leaked a little early, unfortunately.
Want me to tell you why you're here?
Oh, you got the English
Will
version?
I find
Gross.
out if we fight him together?
Sub over dub.
Now you're getting
I'm kidding.
it.
I don't even know what half of that means.
Wait, who is?
Oh, they're adding Jacko!
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
If she
Perspective changes.
works, well, here's the thing, because if she could put the 3 houses down and level them up, you're screwed. There's just so much stuff floating around on the screen. So I'm interested to see how they're redoing that whole mechanic, because it looks like they toned it down a tad. Oh, yeah, and it's next Friday. Yeah, nice. Oh, let's stop it here. Hold up. I think one thing that was pointed out is if you look at that third character, there's one more character that's supposed to be released this year, and then everything else is next year. So can't wait to see who it be. But before we even get to that, let's start with Sharpie. Sharpie, block or grab on Jacko?
I'm grabbing. Very simple, very easy. To be very honest, I like Jacko a lot. Aside of Exerd, I liked her because she played the way I wanted Ram to play. And I'm very excited because it looks like inside of the gameplay, it doesn't look like they actually changed or nerfed a lot of her mechanics. In fact, it looked like they made her stronger and removed a lot of limiters that I felt like she had inside of Exerd. A lot of the freedom, specifically with the minions, I like. So I'm 100% grabbing. And to be very honest, I may actually move from Ram to Jack this game. I didn't do it in Exerd, but I may do it here.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Moving from Ram to Jack. Steve, block or grab?
I am
Chat,
not
give us your
happy-
block and grabs in the chat. Sorry, go ahead, Steve.
I am not happy about seeing Jacko. I feel she is a waste of a character space because she's ass. She is just straight up booty. She's going to be at the bottom of the tier list. She's nothing more than an absolute bum. You can put her at the bottom of the tier list, and she's going to be bringing up the rear for the foreseeable future. You think that just because she's got her minions, that she can pull some junk out of her trunk, that she's going to be a good character? No, she can hightail it out of the character select screen. She could, if she's going to be on the Guilty Gear train, she can get on the caboose of that train. She can be the caboose of that train. Anus.
So you're gonna block or grab?
Grab.
Damn straight.
Give you a round of applause on that
that
one.
was good. That was a good one. We don't usually get those from Steve. That
Not
was a good
anymore.
one.
We don't. All right. See
Future
lots of
Steve, I'm
grabs in the
sorry for
chat.
what you have to edit there.
All right.
That's the phrase. We've talked about armpits. We've talked about so many other things. We talked about
Okay,
more-
look, the
but-
armpit community pays their taxes, Steve. What are you mad about? We're putting
Okay.
children through college.
We have to move on. We're almost out of time.
I am so mad that I didn't put a crack joke in that rant. I'm just.
We gotta move
It was
forward.
right there.
We gotta move forward. I'm gonna grab because I'm so curious about how her minions are gonna work, and because before I used to think of it as a MOBA because there was like the bottom, middle, and top. I'm curious to see what happens. It looks like they have a lot of crazy versatility, so we'll see what happens. Big grab. Chat goes with the grab. That's been Block Grab. Should I play the thing after we get out of the segment of Block Grab?
Oh, the secret
I
video
don't
that I
think it's
told you never to
necessary.
release to anybody because it will literally ruin my entire brand?
No.
Oh, okay, good.
Block Grab.
I thought we were talking about... Okay, cool.
Okay, so last but not least, let's get to this Akira breakdown, shall we? So Akira and Oro came out for Street Fighter this week, and I've been spending some time with Akira, and I gotta say, this character is crazy, crazy nutty. I even have a thing for us here. Let's see. Bam. Hi. It's me in the middle. Steve, Sharpie, you guys are still here, so please speak up if you have questions and all that. So, Akira, new character, rival schools. She's crazy. I'm not going to get into her V-triggers because I didn't get that far.
A lot stronger than I look.
I am going to talk about her V skill too. So, first. What?
Finitude pointed out your CFN name.
Oh yeah, it's Elon Musk. I did it like in 2016 when I bought this version. I kind of regret it. I also have the Trinidad and Tobago flag just because I like Trinidad and Tobago. I wish I could change it, but hey, that's where we're at now. Anyway, first, she has a 3-frame button. 3 frames is kind of like the magic. That's like the amount of frames of which the fastest moves in the games are. Fastest moves in the games are 3 frames with the exception of supers. Her 3-frame button is her crouching jab. It is 3 frames. It is very fast. You can use it to combo into stuff, and we're going to get into that a little bit. Can I change those? I don't know. We'll see. Let's go through her combo starters. Her big combo starter button is her crouching medium punch. It goes this far. You can go into standing medium punch, and we have... Oh, there we go. And we have a combo, and then you can go into whatever special moves you want. Her crouching medium kick, you know, you can do your regular 1s and 2s here, right? Just like any other fighting game character, though it does look a little wacky. That is a very good poke. Her Fierce is a very good combo starter. You can also go into her target combo, which is Fierce and Forward Fierce. It's really good for whiff punishing stuff, especially because it comes out so fast, but it is very punishable, so be careful when you use that. Anti-airs. Let's talk about her anti-airs, will ya? Her medium kick. It's this one. It's just like Sakura or Chun-Li's light kicks. Her crouching fierce is a very, very good anti-air. It's very bad against cross-ups, but still a very, very good anti-air nonetheless. And she's got a DP, which is her Hotenshu. That's the name of the special move. It looks like this. It's an excellent anti-air. Again, very bad against cross-ups because it pushes you so far forward. But it is an excellent, excellent anti-air. And it does come out very, very fast. And it beats a lot of stuff in the air. Thus, why it's an anti-air. Another weird anti-air she does have is her spin kick. Senshubu is the name of it. Her spin kick. Her heavy spin kick is the fastest to come out. It also is the highest. And it is an excellent anti-air. Very good at grabbing things that are higher above you than other buttons cannot reach. Cool. Those are anti-airs. Next. Go for it.
Solonaro's asking in the chat if the target combo is special cancelable.
Target combo is not special cancelable, but we are going to get to what it does do. At least the Fierce Forward Fierce is not cancelable, but the light medium punch is. But we will get into what the Fierce Forward Fierce target combo is for in just a sec. Next, let's move to her special moves. She has a Party Crasher. This is, of course, a move that was in Tekken with Julia. No, not Julia. Yeah, Julia. But in Akira's case, it's called Uraimon. It's very good. It's great for combos. You can do off of a jab. Actually, I think you could do a medium off of a jab. No, you cannot. Never mind. The strength just moves, just differs in distance traveled. Heavy one knocks down, but all of these are -4 on block. So be careful because they are punishable on block. So not great for a block string. The EX version is -2 on block. So if you have if you need to do it for some reason, spend the meter to keep it safe. Next, her spin kicks, Senshubu. It almost looks like Ibuki's spin kicks from Street Fighter 4. You have a light version, which does not hit low. You can block this standing. You have a light version, which looks like it's low. You have a medium version, which hits medium, and you have the high version. The high version whiffs on crouchers, so it is very, very bad, but it does launch in a way that you can combo afterwards on people who are not crouching. Now, you might be thinking, oh man, that means you're going to have to use the low... you're going to have to use the low and the medium for when they are crouching, and you're going to have to use the high. But here's the thing about this. This move has a follow-up, so you can do it twice, right? And you can do any combination, so you can do low, high, you can do low, mid, you can do low, low, like this, or you can do like mid, low, etc., etc. So the magic thing about this is the middle version of it knocks them into the air, which means it's forced to be in a range that you can use the high kick version. So if they are crouching, here, let's go ahead and make this dummy. I called her a dummy. Let's make him crouch. See, it does whiff. However, if you do the middle version first and then the back version, you get yourself some combo stuff. And you can use EX moves. Her EX Party Crasher elbow is really good. Her DP is really good. And if you're up against the corner, you can even use... Whoops, excuse me. If you're up against the corner, you can use the Party Crasher without meter, and you get the combo stuff. Cool. Those are her spin kicks. Next, her DP. It's a DP. Different strengths, different distance traveled. The EX version is really fast and invincible. Next is my favorite move of hers, and it's her... it's called Kikokai. It's basically like a Hazanshu for Chun-Li. So, it looks like this. These are not comboable from lights. You have to go from a media button because it takes too long to combo into a light from a light button. However, the heavy version of this is where the magic is at. It is not comboable, even if you go from a fierce button. However, the beauty of this thing is, on block, the light and medium versions are punishable. They're minus... What did I write down? They're... The light is -3, medium is -2, so medium is safe. However, the heavy version of this is +1. So, it does have a ridiculously large startup. It can be used as a frame trap, but you can be interrupted out of. However, the magic of this move is in meaties. The meaties of this move is what makes this character ridiculous. This character, with the meaty starter of the heavy version of this, can get as much damage as a raw super out of it. So, for example, if we do a sweep, wait, and mistime it.
Jeez. That's oppressive.
So that's 331. A raw super in this game is like 330-ish. So you can get a lot of damage using this as meaties in the corner or even in the middle of the screen. You're not going to get as much damage, obviously, as a 331. But that's where they shine. This is a meaty tool. It's crazy. Obviously, it loses to V-Shift and Invincible reversals, but that's Street Fighter V. Now, let's get into V-Trigger 2. Or, I'm sorry, V-Skill 2. V-Skill 2 is the Air Burst. This is what causes her to go up and do Rival Schools style things. This is difficult to use. Why? First, there's no way of comboing into it except from that fierce forward fierce target combo. This is the only way you can combo into it. Next, when you get sent up, the timing is so fickle. It is very, 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 very precise. So you can go up. You can also change where your character is. You have DI, essentially. Like if you're Smash players or if you're Soul Calibur players, you have directional influence where you can control your character back and forth when you're up in the air. And to top it all off, there is I don't know what the limit is yet, but whenever you do hit the combo limit, the character flashes purple. The character you're beating up flashes purple. And all you can do then is spend meter to get the big knockdown or do the spike. Otherwise, this works like Marvelware combos, right? You launch up, you do medium, medium. See, that's what I'm talking about. If you mistime it on the way up, you have to like really adjust your combos to make sure that you hit everything. But all her air buttons work. To do the spike, you do forward fierce, or forward roundhouse rather. So it is tricky because you do want to keep moving the character to adjust her positioning so you can keep doing combos. However, you also have to be wary that forward roundhouse is the spike. So what I did here is I actually recorded some of these combos just so we don't have to sit here and wait for me to get this right. Because some of these air combos, if you get this, if you get a raw hit with the V skill 2, you can get so much damage. So the other option too is it's great for stuns. If you have your opponent stunned, this is going to get you a lot of damage in these matches. So let's go ahead and show you some of these combos because they're crazy. I've been messing around a little bit. I found that the better combos start with medium punch, medium kick, and then everything else is just whatever you can get. So this is some of them that I have going. This is I have the simplest one in slot 1 and then the most complicated with the most damage in slot 5. So launch, medium punch, medium kick, heavy, heavy, and then light, medium, heavy to finish out. So that's combo number 1. And if you see the damage, it was still like 316 damage. That's a ton of damage. Sorry, Steve. Let's go to combo number 2. This gets a little bit more complicated because we start using her air Kikokai, right? And again, 324. We're getting closer to that raw super damage. You can use her Kikokai. The heavy version of the Kikokai bounces them up. If you use it twice, it spikes them down. The lighter version, or the medium version, also bounces you up, and the light version bounces you both up. It's kind of crazy. So everything is like so ridiculously precise, and you have to make those decisions while you're in the air. It's pretty crazy. And it all depends on what the first hit is. Because if you miss the first hit, you're gonna have to like completely rework your combo. It's crazy. Before we move on, Die by Sword, resubscribing for 46 months. Thank you, Die by Sword. Steve, Sharpie, say thank you because you're not on camera, please.
Thank you, Die by Sword. We really appreciate everything you do and everything.
Thank you
all of
for
our
buying
subscribers
me
do.
yet another day on this show, in this hell. I'm forced by contractual obligation to be here for every month you stay subscribed.
Okay, great. Sorry, I need to finish this up. I only have 2 more combos to go. So, I do want to keep in mind these combos are being done with no meter, right? So we're getting a super's worth of damage with no meter. And if you start spending meter, you can get even more damage. It's crazy. Let's go into combo number 3, if you would. Right, we're in number 3. Let's see what this does here. Same starter. Using 2 Kikokais for the bounce up. Look at that damage. It is 338. Now we're above raw super territory here. And again, this is one of those things where the timing that you hit your first hit on this is so precise that you do have to like really be careful, and you have to play it. You really have to play it by ear. At least I haven't found a way of doing these consistently. Let's go into combo number 4. What happens if we start using a little meter here? Because she does have the EX Kikokai in the air. Medium, medium, heavy. Kikokai. Light, medium. Kikokai. Heavy, heavy. Let me just turn off the thing here. 347 for damage with 1 meter. Finally, the highest damage I was able to get off of this V skill 2 is this. Medium, medium, heavy. Kikokai. Medium, medium, Kikokai. And spend the meter. 380 unscaled damage. That's way above a raw super. And it is just absolutely insane. One last thing worthy of note before we close it out here. Raw and stun, you get this trajectory in the air. However, off of a combo, off of the target combo, the trajectory is smaller, and you do have to do a smaller combo because of it. So that is, I think, a very interesting mechanic that they put in there, and I think a very interesting way of keeping things sane and from getting too crazy, which I kind of don't agree with. I wish they could get really crazy, but here we are. So I think the best I got is just medium punch, medium kick, heavy punch, and then the spike, or you can spend a meter for that extra damage. And that is... What's her face?
The best of V. Trigger.
It's the V trigger.
2.
Yeah, no V triggers because I didn't get time to it. I need to go. So I think this has been another episode of Best of 5. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. I've been Ilan, Steve, Ace King Officer Jurek. What?
I've been Steve.
That's Steve.
I've
and
been held against my will.
Great. We're out of here. Thanks, everybody, for joining. We'll see you next week. Until then, say your things.
Every real podcaster has a sign-off phrase.
Good night, Canada.